our intentions to save really match the actions. A new Merrill Edge report finding 59% of Americans set a goal of saving for retirement, but only 31% actually reached that goal. Joining us now in a Fox Business exclusive is the head of Bank of America Merrill Edge Banking and head of that study, Aron Levine. Aron, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Thanks so much for joining us. So characterize where we are in terms of retirement savings.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing that challenge, and each year we see it. A lot of Americans want to save, right? They absolutely have the intentions. In fact, stress levels are going up over the topic, but they're not taking the actions. And I think you can point to a couple very specific competing priorities that's causing that. First and foremost, debt, and in particular student debt. So whether parents are paying down student debt for their kids, whether 25-year-olds who took out student debt, they want to get to that first, which is certainly not a bad thing to do, but those dollars are not going to retirement savings. Second, talk about the sandwich generation, right? The sort of Gen Xers who might have aging parents and young kids, and they're helping on both sides. Those dollars are obviously now not shifting towards retirement savings. And I think the third one is not necessarily giving up lifestyle, right? I think as parents, we have kids. I have young kids who want to create memories. So the question is, if you want to take them on vacation, those are, again, dollars that are competing for retirement savings. So you add all those up, and it's being clear that despite good intentions, the actions aren't following.
It's tough to do.
Do you think, though, that with the Generation X group of Americans, that they see maybe their parents struggling in retirement, parents who have not put away enough money, certainly to take care of their health care needs, and that will force a shift in how much we're saving?
Yeah, I think they're seeing that. They're hearing a ton on media, social media, so whether it's Gen Xers or Millennials. So I think the awareness levels are probably all-time highs, probably way higher than it was when we were in our 20s. But the question is, are they able to then take the actions and save the money? So I think because of aging parents, because of things you talk about, it's just where those dollars are going. And right now, the retirement is the one that's being left to the side. And I think that's the question of when can they get to that savings piece? And do they have a real plan in place in order to say, okay, I know I have these priorities today, but how am I inputting the savings into that priority plan?
One thing you hear is that these millennials are scared of the market. They've seen the experience that their parents had losing money in 2000 and then again in 2008. I actually wrote a book on this topic, and one thing that amazed me was, and I don't mean to be harsh, but the ignorance. Nobody teaches anybody about this stuff in school.
Yeah.
So suddenly this 401k plan lands on your desk in your first job, and you don't know what to make of it. Which fund do I put my money in? Is it the conservative fund? That sounds good. That's
right.
Probably a bad idea. So how do you teach these people to actually, maybe it's just one index fund for equities, one index fund for bonds, set it and forget it for the next 40 years, you'd probably be okay.
Right. Look, I think education is the number one topic. And so, whether we put on the education on websites, certainly Bank of America has Better Money Habits that we release videos on. Merrill Edge puts a lot of content. And so the good news is the millennials are certainly tech savvy. They're using the internet and they're getting educated. And I think companies who provide these 401k plans have to do a great job of educating, not just offering the plan itself.
Are they doing that, though?
I think more and more. I think companies are reaching out and partnering with wealth management firms to say, hey, let's make sure we get our employees educated. Let's do seminars. We see a lot of our clients will bring us in, and the great news is we can kind of work with millennials as well as the CEO. So we have the continuum and sit down and provide education seminars. So we're seeing that much more. Companies really taking an active goal of saying, I want to educate my employees, not just give them the 401k.
Do you think Social Security will be around 30 years from now? Because I don't think anybody in this country believes it's not going to be there. People joke about it. Oh, it's not going to be there. But you get taxes taken out of every paycheck to fund it. Is it going to be there?
I can't predict 30 years from now. I think it's a challenge, and I think the problem is everyone is concerned, and so that's one more reason why you have to be saving as much as possible, because it's hard to predict what's going to happen in 30 years. It's hard to predict where healthcare costs are going to be, and so I think those are things that add to that stress of, how am I saving enough? And of course, we're all living longer. So that really changes. I think all those things together are sort of changing the whole dynamic of what is retirement and when do I retire.
What's the average amount of money people have saved to retirement? It's a horrible number.
It's a really low number. I don't have it across the board, but I know there's been several studies that talk to people have less than $10,000 saves. It's a number that doesn't work, right? So whatever it is, especially with the idea we're living longer. So it's clear that people have to start sooner and they have to be more aggressive in saving for retirement, and that might mean some sacrifices in the current time in order to fund it.
Aron, thanks for your insights.
Yeah, it's
really
my pleasure.
Good to see you.
Thank you for
Aron
being here.
Levine there at Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Forget the